Do you find yourself breaking the bank on ultrasonic cleaning fluid, and do you want to go from this to this? Then keep watching, because I've got a treat. So in this video, we're going to brew up some homemade PCB detergent, and we're going to save ourselves a ton of money in the process. Now this stuff's excellent for getting crusty, nasty PCBs up into a nice, brand new minty looking state, minty fresh. So if you stay with me and follow along, you'll be able to make this stuff yourself. It's fantastic, and it's comparable to things like Branson EC, so hang in there. Need the following equipment and chemicals, links in the description below. P100 respirator with filters, nitrile gloves, sodium lauryl sulfate, sodium metasilicate, sodium percarbonate, sodium carbonate, sodium sulfate, thymolphthalin, pH indicator paper, some weighing scales with 0.1 grams accuracy, a mixing bowl, silica desiccant bags, and a measuring glass. These are the ratios we'll be using to make 1 kilogram. So first up, we add the smallest ingredient by percentage. In this case, we're going to add 1 gram of thymolphthalin. This stuff is an indicator chemical, so it indicates the pH level. It turns blue when the pH is around 9.5. So we only need 1 gram of this in a 1 kilogram batch, because that will come out at 0.1%, which is about the percent we want for indicating. It's more than enough, even though it might not sound like it. The reason we add the smallest ingredient first and then we step up to the next smallest quantity is it helps us get a nice even mix, because we'll be mixing in the smaller ingredient for a longer period as we do each step, and that's why we do that. So our next chemical that we want to add is sodium lauryl sulfate. This stuff is a surfactant, and we want to add it in at about 5% of the overall weight of the formulation. This stuff acts basically to decrease surface tension within the vat when it's filled with water, and that helps things like dirt, grime, and other particulates to sink to the bottom of the vat during ultrasonic cavitation. It's really good stuff, and it's absolutely necessary. If you find that the foaming is too much when ultrasonic cleaning, reduce to 2%. Notice as I'm pouring this, there's dust flying around. That's why you need a respirator when mixing these things up. You don't want to be breathing this dust in. You don't want surfactant or very strong alkaline bases inside your lungs, because that could probably kill you. So be aware of that. Be sure to mix very, very thoroughly. I mix it for about 3.5 minutes, and I flip the powder over on itself multiple times. Next up is our sodium metasilicate. We want to add this to about 10% of the overall weight. This stuff is absolutely fantastic for boosting the alkalinity of the overall detergent, which increases its degreasing action, and it complements the soda ash and sodium carbonate and acts as a dispersing agent. So it helps prevent redeposition of dirt and grime onto the PCBs during cavitation of the ultrasonic cleaner, and it also acts as a corrosion inhibitor. So that helps prevent any kind of corrosion occurring on the board, and in addition to that as well, it helps soften the water if it's a little bit hard as well. So that's really handy if you want to use tap water. Our next addition is sodium percarbonate. We want to add this at about 10% of the overall weight. And what this does is two things. It breaks down into sodium carbonate and into hydrogen peroxide when it's in water. And that has two effects. The sodium carbonate, the soda ash that it breaks down into, will boost the alkalinity of the cleaner, which helps increase its ability to degrease. and the hydrogen peroxide acts as a bleaching agent, which helps get rid of things like organic staining, so things like flux stains, soda stains, spilled sugar on the board, things like that. So it's really good for helping clean up any kind of nasty organic chemicals. So that's why we add this into the formulation. Now, as before, we want to mix this for about 3 minutes extremely thoroughly. So what we're trying to do is get an even dispersion of the different powders within the overall mixture. And that's why you have to be really, really thorough. It pays to be as thorough as you can with this. So a solid 3-4 minutes of stirring each time you add a new powder. The next addition is sodium sulfate. This stuff actually doesn't really do anything. All it does is help the dispersion of the powders within the base mix. You want to add this in at around 30% of the overall formulation. As I say, it's completely benign. It doesn't do anything. It's just a bulk powder, essentially. And that's why you want it. It just helps make the powder flow properly. So again, just mix as thoroughly as you can for about 3 minutes, 3-4 minutes. Again, the key is to make sure that the other powders are dispersed equally throughout the overall mixture. Our next addition is sodium carbonate. This is pretty much the main active ingredient of this cleaner. What it does is it boosts the pH level, making it more alkaline. And it forms our main base in bulk, and pretty much is there as the main saponifier and degreaser to help clean flux deposits, organic compounds, and all the rest of it. So, yeah, this really brings us up into the more alkaline territory, and you have to be extremely thorough mixing it as well. Great thing, though, is it's really cheap. And that's it. That is our detergent made. I'm calling it Big Blue because it turns blue in water. And in this case, I'm just going to pop it in a Ziploc bag. You can put it in anything, really. You could put it in Tupperware or whatever it is you want to store it in. And a really fantastic thing about this is a kilogram of this will make 50 litres of mixed cleaning detergent. So it'll last quite a long time, and it's really inexpensive. It's much, much, much cheaper than commercial offerings you can buy. And it performs exactly the same. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is just bag this up, seal it up. I'm going to add some desiccant packs as well to help keep it dry so it doesn't clump. And I'm going to label it with what it is and also the date I did it. This stuff should last several years before it possibly degrades. It might even last longer if stored in a cool, dark place with a vacuum seal pack or something like that. So yeah, you can make this stuff last forever. So yeah, here we go. We'll just add these silica packets in, and that should make it so that it doesn't get any moisture in there and clump together or anything nasty like that. So there we go. Fantastic. Now you might be wondering, well, how well does it work? So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to whip up a batch. Well, I'm going to whip up several batches, but I'm only going to show you me making one, and then we're going to throw it in the ultrasonic. And all you need is 20 grams of this per litre of water. So it goes a long way, and you really don't need much of it. 20 grams will get you a pH of around about 11.5, maybe 12.5 on the high end, which is fantastic for breaking down flux compounds. And yeah, I'm going to use distilled water in this. I make my own distilled water with a little still machine. It just helps save some money. You can use tap water because we do have chemicals in that help soften tap water, but you might still get mineral deposits, so I'd still be a little cautious about that. Anyway, mix it in the water, be as thorough as possible, and you'll notice it starts to turn blue. And with time, it will get even more blue, like a darker shade of blue. It actually becomes a really pretty shade of blue. And we'll just dunk these pH strips in just to give us an indication of exactly how alkaline this mixture is. We can see it's a very dark blue on the strip. And I think that puts it at somewhere between 11 and 12 would be my guess. It's a fairly basic mixture. And you should always use nitrile gloves when handling it. So next up, you want to fill your ultrasonic cleaner with this stuff. I filled mine less than halfway. You should probably put a little bit more in, but it takes longer for the whole tank to heat up, the container. So yeah, just add and go. The general procedure with these kind of detergents is to heat them up to around anywhere between 50 to maybe 70, 80 degrees Celsius. I put mine at 60 degrees and it works just fine. So preheat it, and then what you want to do is degas the liquid. My ultrasonic cleaner has a degas function, but if yours doesn't, just run it as normal. And after it's ran for a little while, you'll see it'll be a darker shade of blue, as it is here. It's a very pretty shade of blue. And it's ready to use. Now, as they say, the proof is in the pudding. So in this case, we've just got a bunch of flux on a random circuit board here. What I'm going to do is melt that flux down onto the board and just make a mess. We want to make a mess, and we'll go over the board. I'll show you all the little bits of dirt and grime and so on it. We'll detail it quite well so that you can see how nasty the board is, and we're going to deliberately make it a little bit nastier in the process, and then see how well that detergent works in the real world. So I'm also going to use a little bit of desoldering braid on here. I'm not desoldering anything, I just want to burn the rosin that's in the desoldering braid and leave little brown deposits of that on the board as well, just to sort of show how well this stuff works. So it might seem pointless what I'm doing now, but it's actually just a test to see how well this stuff works. So yeah, so we'll just smear it all over like we are doing here, and hopefully it will clean up nicely. Yeah, so we'll just put some here, and then we'll move to another section of the board as well, and just sort of show it as well as we can. You can see that it's gone a bit of a nasty-ish, brownish colour. That means the flux is starting to burn, and that's not uncommon when doing work on printed circuit boards. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you're well aware of why I'm doing this. But for those who aren't sure or don't know why I'd be doing that, that's why. It's just a test to see how it works in the real world. So we can see I've got a little bit more flux down by this chip here in the bottom left corner. I'm going to burn it as much as I can and just show it as well as I can as well. So here we go, here's the final result of that mess making. We can see a big old blob of flux right in the middle that I melted. And here's the edge as well where we burnt the flux. You should be able to see it quite well there, just toward the middle bottom. And just to further highlight, you can see there's an X on one of these ICs and there's flux splatter on them. If you take a look, you'll see quite a lot of flux splatter on top of these chips. That's because I have done some rework around this area. You can see, like I say, like that Sharpie X on there as well. Like some smearing around the board if you look carefully. It's not in a great shape, but it's not the worst thing you'll ever see either. But it's just to highlight the condition of the board. Going a little further, we have a look at some of these chips a little bit closer up as well, so you can see just how messy they are. So you can see here, there's just some general grime and dirt and whatever on this. Same here on this RAM chip. Now for the trial by fire. Let's put it on for 5 minutes and set the machine to run it on one side. Then we'll flip the board, run it for another 5 minutes, rinse the board off and see how it looks. So here we go, and let's fire it up. There we go, and we'll just let that run for the full 5 minutes and see what happens. So we'll do the same thing again for the other side as well. So we'll just open it up, take the board out, flip it over, and run it again for another 5 minutes or so. And we'll just see how it comes up. It looks promising already from what I can see. So yeah, anyway, we'll still run it on both sides to give us a fair comparison. And yeah, see what we get. Here's hoping. Okay, nearly done, and once it is, we'll pop it out, rinse it off, and look at the results after we've let it dry for a while. So, let's get it open. And it's looking promising to me. I really do love this shade of blue. Right, there we go. Okay, let's just put those aside. I did toss a few brushes in off camera as well because they were a bit full of flux. Figured might as well clean those as well. And yeah, there we go. So we got the board. We can see there's a few suds on it. That's because we added a little bit too much sodium lauryl sulfate, but it's fine. And now we will responsibly rinse the board's alkaline chemicals into a proper disposal system area thing. Yes. This. Be responsible. Don't be me. That's all I'm going to say. There we go, the other side of the board. We'll give that a nice rinse as well. And boom, done. So lastly, let's do a before and after, and the images can speak for themselves, I think. I think those images speak for themselves, so I hope this video helped you. If it did, hit like and subscribe. And yeah, hope you have a good time. Hope you save yourself some money, and I will see you next time.